Congreso is a multi-service organization in Philadelphia that does housing, health, education, workforce development, and family and parenting services. We specialize in services for the Latino community. We serve about 14,000 people a year across our platform. When Congreso updated our theory of change in 2018, we set a rigorous course to build our programs out to achieve bigger scale and impact, working across our domains of housing, health, education, workforce, and family and parenting services. And it was a daunting task, and so we asked ourselves, well, what would we need internally to build toward that, to drive our programs toward that North Star goal? We have a lot of different funding streams, a lot of different design programs. We needed a common methodology, and so myself and a couple of folks have been working with human-centered design in previous programs, and it was really successful, and so we decided to bring it in formally and build some structure and a system around it. We worked with a human-centered designer, and we started running design labs across the organization. And what we saw is that allowed us to really build that culture, build that uniformity, have a common language about high performance, about end user experience, and it set us on a course to be able to really work toward that across the board. Human-centered design is a set of methodologies that are used primarily in the private sector around innovation that really help investigate the end user experience and put their experience and their mindset and their behavior at the front of the development process. It allows you to really understand on the ground what's going on and build that into the DNA of the actual design. Think of, as opposed to maybe developing a grant and a contract and then you implement it and recruit people to it. It's sort of more the bottom-up approach to that. You're saying, well, what do these folks need? What is their experience? How are they seeing this from their eyes? And we investigate that to use that to build the program. And what happens is you have a more efficient program, you have one that matches the mindset of your end users, and the experience of going through that is more fluid, and we see more outcomes and higher performance. Congreso built a human-centered design toolkit as part of this journey. And the way that we got there is to build a culture of design. We brought in a human-centered design expert that had actually trained me previously, and him and I ran design labs with a number of teams across Congreso. And we tested a bunch of human-centered design skills from the professional world of human-centered design, but translated them into social service. So we would run a design with our domestic violence services team, our housing team, our GED instruction team, you name it. And we try to take a look at their program and use these human-centered design techniques to help us investigate it, understand it better, and then implement some new strategies to improve the impact. So we decided to make a toolkit out of it and a homegrown codification of what that is. And so we built a kit that has a facilitator video, a guide, some how-to materials, it has some templates, it has some use cases, so anyone in the organization can call a design lab, invite their team members, and go into the toolkit and download some of the pieces and get ready for that, and they can facilitate a design session. And what that's allowed us to do is now anyone can call a design lab, anyone can access the design toolkit, and it really just equips staff to be able to do that really well and to plan for it and have more of a designer-led approach to how they improve their programs and services.
Congreso has a teen parenting program that the staff had noticed that the clients were really not engaging in a particular part of the program around motivational interviewing, and through human-centered design, the staff had come to learn that the students were actually fearful of that step in the program because they had never spoken about their future and their goals in that way. So the staff called a design lab, really got into that creative brain space, and designed a new updated way to conduct that portion of the program. They went back to the students and got their feedback, and it had a much more positive result. So the staff then were able to take that to the funder. The funder was receptive of the updated way because they understood the increased impact and outcome of having a more client-centered process, and now it is the way that that program actually does the motivational interviewing at the state level.
We use human-centered design in our day-to-day work, from hiring, interviewing, to looking at our program flow or our client flow, how we look at specifically like our intake, because it's very lengthy in our department. How do we minimize that, the data, the collection of documents, anything that's going to make the experience for that client less, we want to ensure that that's occurring. So design allow us to look at the specific areas or gaps that we have within our department, design something that we can test very quickly, and then come back and look at it as a team and pivot if we need to.
Human-centered design has helped us to lead our programs with our patients and clients. We take a look at their experience, and most importantly, we take a look at the process and the different touch points when they have contacts with our staff. To take a look at, are they having the maximum experience? Are we really meeting their needs? Are we asking the right questions? Are we listening for what is it that for them would make the biggest impact and what they need in their lives to handle things like economic hardships, where to get linked to resources, knowing about resources, knowing about what they're eligible for, and things like that, and then just having somebody to talk to, most importantly. Those are some of the areas where we've used human-centered design.
I went through a lot of conversations and interviews with staff and clients to kind of identify what the needs eventually are, and that helped us land on maybe creating a referral app that could allow us to, in as near real time as possible, have all of the criteria of your program, like what their eligibility is and what the descriptions of the programs are. And we used MVPing to get to an end product. So, we started off with a Canva, a Figma, until now we have an actual live product.
Congreso has transformed significantly since implementing human-centered design. Not only have programs adopted this and are using it every day to improve their programs, it's allowed us to see a huge conversion rate in bringing more people to the finish line of programs. So our success rates have gone up across the board and stayed high. It's also allowed programs to scale and start thinking about how do they double, triple, 4x, 5x, and so we have a number of programs that have gone 4 or 5x from where they were, so we're reaching much further into our community at a high success rate. And additionally, that story has allowed us to really advocate for more funding, and we brought in millions of dollars since we started this process, and it's really helped us diversify our portfolio and really drive that forward as well. I think what's happening now is that it's organically part of how we do business at the organization. We're going to continue to build our toolkit, to add some tools to it, to continue to think how do we stay innovative, how do we build new types of programs, new features, how do we scale other services, and so the work for that is perpetual. Congreso is working to help make our human-centered design strategy ready for external use, to share with other organizations. We believe that the more organizations and the more partners and different levels in our industry that think from a human-centered design approach, will see more impact across the sector. So Congreso has been setting ourselves up to be able to share some of these tools, to do some consulting. We've worked with a number of organizations already, and we're seeking to work with others this coming year to be able to help expand this. That could look like some training, we can do some design work, we're able to sort of share some of the tools. There's a variety of a menu that we can offer support with, and we're excited to start doing that this coming year.